And now I would like to hand over to Krister, who's going to tell us how to build a successful cost action. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll hand over now to Krister. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janet, for this presentation. Just one thing you mentioned was not very clear. I think you mentioned that working group participants would not get reimbursed, and then there was a mentioning that it depends on the MC committee decision. So yes, working group members or participants who are not part of the MC will get reimbursed based on an MC decision. I mean, if there is enough money and how they decide to reimburse the MC. The working group members. So let's start now with how to prepare a successful action proposal. Last round in this collection, there were 2 proposals from Malta, which is not bad, unfortunately unsuccessful, but let's try to improve these figures, and I will give you some tips and tricks over my presentation. So yeah, just to mention again some principles, some basic principles when you want to submit. And Janet also mentioned, now I think about it, that you should first get involved into an action before submitting. This is the natural path, I would say, to get acquainted with how an action works. It helps indeed to submit a proposal. Now we have cases indeed of people never been involved into actions and that were immediately successful. So this can happen too. So I really want to promote submission here in my presentation. So coming back to a few principles, Janet, you mentioned this openness, this bottom-up approach in cost. Indeed, you can really submit a proposal in any field and definitely in any interdisciplinary field. So this approach is very welcome. So if you want just to use the example Janet mentioned, so how could bees be used in the treatment of epilepsy? This could be a perfectly suitable proposal, for example, for cost. Now, again, we have an openness principle, so anyone can participate in our action. The only thing which is needed is an affiliation, so an institutional affiliation. Otherwise, we don't look at your diploma, we don't look at your background, your age, the type of institution you're in. And also it's open internationally, so everyone can join our cost actions and our cost proposals. It's always good to be involved in the proposal stage already, because it's already a stepping stone for being involved in the management committee and access the leadership positions, which are also very important. I'll talk about that later. Our cost proposals are very impact, let's say, impact. The impact is important. The impact dimension is important when you submit a proposal. So economic, societal, S&T impact, bear that in mind when you submit a proposal. We really promote also the innovation with a view of an open innovation. So also this openness is in this aspect too. So be prepared to share your results. So don't start a proposal with the idea of having a closed group, keeping results for yourself. No, this is not the idea behind. Okay, everyone will get what they produce, of course, and keep what they produce. But this is, the sharing is really an important aspect. The sharing, the transfer of knowledge is also something very important. So we have a very big capacity building dimension also in our proposals. Also, when you formulate your proposal, think of this. Now, another aspect which is important is reducing the gap between scientists and policymaker. I would say also the society in general. So this is the dissemination part of your proposal. We'll come back when we look at the structure of a proposal. So also think of all this, and bearing in mind that you have to also reply to our excellence and inclusiveness policy. This probably will be tackled when we have our panel discussion by the scientific committee chair. So bearing in mind that we have this excellence and inclusiveness policy, which tackles geographical balance, age balance, gender balance. So how to involve young researchers from remote areas that don't have access to the infrastructure, that don't have access to the research, how to involve them in a proposal, involve them in the leadership positions too. Now, let me start my presentation by a simple fact. We have one collection per year. So usually in fall, end of October. Okay, the next collection will be the 29th of October. So you still have time to submit a proposal before that date. It's a one-stage online submission. Okay, for this you need an eCost account. On the COST website, you will find a link to the eCost, our researcher database, where you have to register, fill in your personal details, your expertise, upload a CV, and then you're able to submit your proposal or start your proposal. So minimum requirements, or rather who submits, it's one single person. So there is a main proposer who leads, let's say, a consortium of minimum six other secondary proposers. So you're a total of 7 cost countries, okay, with a criteria, an ITC criteria. So minimum 50% inclusiveness target countries have to be involved in your consortium. So this is my minimum criteria. You as you can really get funded with only 7 countries. So I invite you, even if you have a small consortium, you have fellows in 6 other countries, cost countries, you can submit a proposal. So no problem with that. You take the lead, you're the contact person with cost, or all the mailing or communication between cost is with you, okay? Now, how many actions are approved? For the moment, 40 to 45 actions approved per collection. Now, depending on the budget, we have now in one discussion is to raise this number to 50 and maybe even to 60 funded actions per collection. So again, a visual just to show you, when you have created your eCost account, fill in your details, you can easily go on the menu, open call proposal, and press the button, create a new proposal to start the whole process. What do you have to enter first? The general features of your proposal, meaning, well, what is the title of your proposal? The acronym, you can see the red stars are the compulsory fields. 3 keywords minimum to help us, well, to identify scientifically your proposal. A summary, maximum 250 words. This summary is important because it will be used later on for our cost website. So if you get approved, this summary will appear on your action page. Last but not least, on the bottom, there is this scientific field. This is a selection among 700, more than 700 areas of research. Okay, you can put several areas of research. This will also help us to identify the experts who will then evaluate. The first step of the evaluation is done firstly by an algorithm who helps us to find the right expert for your proposal. So don't hesitate to put several areas of expertise here. We further then fine-tune the finding of your expert by looking at the CV of the person, then to get the right expert for your proposal. Now, when this general feature is done, you will see a green check mark here on the right-hand side. This allows you, this unlocks the other parts of the proposals. Now, which are the other parts? Well, first of all, the most important, I would say, it's the technical annex. The technical annex is actually a Word template that you can download for our document repository, and you can fill it in, share it with your colleagues. It has to be a maximum of 15 pages. This technical annex will eventually be converted into a PDF and uploaded again on your application. Okay, now a few words about the 4 categories here. So S&T excellent, describe your challenge, the soundness of the challenge. What do you want to attain with this challenge? What are the objectives related to this challenge? Now, we have different type of objectives. We have the research coordination objectives. These are the classical objectives, and also the capacity building objectives. So you will detail them here in this section, S&T Excellence. What are the progress beyond the state of the art? So describe the state of the art, show that you have a good knowledge of the state of the art, and also what will your proposal, let's say, how it will make evolve this state of the art. Be careful here with one thing is the anonymity rule. So I already want to mention this because many proposals are, let's say, declared ineligible because of this anonymity rule. So be careful not to associate any of the participants in your network and an initiative, a project, an action, a cost action. So this is very important. Okay, so you describe the other initiatives without making a link between the people who are in your network of proposal. I already mentioned this here, but I will come back to this later on. Networking excellence, what is the added value of networking? Why do you need cost? Why do you need network to promote your research, your proposal? And what are the other initiatives in a European level, in an international level? So what is the added value of networking? You will also here describe the critical mass. What is, do you have the critical mass in terms of expertise, in terms of geographic distribution? Do you have all the expert needed, very multidisciplinary? Do you have all the right persons already involved in your network without citing them, without giving the names or the institution names? Again, anonymity. Do you have the right persons? Do you also have the right geographic distribution? So maybe there are some experts which are needed from Finland or from the Canary Islands. I don't know, because they have to be there into this specific research because they are key leaders there. If you don't have this expertise, if you don't have the geographic distribution, well, let's say, what is your proposal to overcome the gap? This can be mentioned. As I said, you can start with the 7 partners, as long as you can describe, okay, how will I reach out to these experts? It's fine. We are happy with that. In this part, you will also describe how you will reach out to all the stakeholders. Okay, so that's the added value of networking in impact. So have you identified all the stakeholders? Will you involve them? How will you involve them in your action along the duration? Okay. In this networking excellence part, you will also tackle international participation. So who are the international partners in your proposal? How will they be, let's say, how will they be integrated in your proposal? What is the benefit of their participation? So all this goes into networking excellence. Then we have a part section, impact. So what is the societal, the S&T impact, the possible innovation, a breakthrough of your proposal? So innovation in a very wide sense, because we very much welcome humanities, social sciences also. So they are equally, let's say, evaluated. What are the measures to maximize this impact? So here you can enter a destination plan. So how will you reach out? How will you reach out in general to the society, to the public, and also to policymakers? Finally, we have a part on implementation. That's about the structure of your proposal, of your action. So here you will define the working groups, describe the working groups, who will be involved in the working groups. Don't put any names or institution names. Put in here also all the deliverables. You can here, I very much recommend to use a time frame. So for example, a Gantt chart over the 4-year, what will happen over the 4 years? What will the working groups deliver? What are their outputs, etc.? How they will work together. So this is for the implementation. In here, you can also add a risk plan, a contingency plan. If something goes wrong, if one objective is not achieved by a working group, what will happen? What is then the solution? So again, this is a downloadable Word template, which is there on our document repository, a maximum of 15 pages. You can add diagrams, you can add figures in this document, and then eventually upload it as a PDF. Now, we have an online part, which is very important. If you have a strong proposal, this is a part on cost excellence and inclusiveness. So I already mentioned the three objectives. So how are you going to promote in your proposal geographic balance? Okay, especially inclusion of ITC countries and their access of young researcher to leadership position, for example. So how are you going to promote this? Also, the age balance, young researcher versus senior researcher. Indeed, we need both to transfer the knowledge. And also gender balance, if there is any issue in your area of research. So you can see what is the purpose behind this. Well, identify excellence and increase the access to funding and to infrastructure of those less research intensive areas or communities. This is an important part which will only be, let's say, scrutinized by the scientific committee at the very stage of, let's say, the evaluation. Sorry, now I went a bit too far. Then we have finally a part called a network of proposer. You as a main proposer, you have access to this part. You will simply invite secondary proposer. It's a very easy, let's say, way of inviting. So you have a small button, add proposer. You enter his name and email address, and an email goes out. The person will then be able to confirm. But before confirming, he needs himself to be registered into the ECOS database. So he needs to create the same, let's say, account as you have created to submit a proposal. So if he hasn't an account, it can take some time. So don't do this the last second. In general, a good tip is to submit at least one day before the deadline, just to avoid, well, any traffic problem that you can have the last day and any stress. This happened. Usually those who submit the last moment will not be successful. So especially this part, network of proposal, make sure that you have it right, that you also have your quota of 50% ITC before submitting. Okay, the system will check this 50%, so it's not something that you have to check. So it will give you a green check mark when you submit, when you have your 50% of ITC countries. That was about the network of proposer. Maybe a simple mentioning of who should be in. No need to overload by country or by institution. So you can really have as many as you need, but bear in mind that the person that you will add are those who really contributed to the proposal and will be active in your action. So no fake names needed. And also keep in mind that you should have a good geographic distribution. So no need to have 15% from one institution or from the same country, while there are only one person from the other countries or one or other institutions. So this is just to keep in mind. A few words now about the evaluation itself. So eligibility check. First, you're going to check the anonymity of your proposal. This is, let's say, the biggest issue. That's where many can fail. So we had several 30, I think, cases in the last round. Out of 500 proposals, we had 30 cases of anonymity. So again, don't link any participant to your proposal, nor by name, nor by institution name. By country is okay, but anyway, the evaluators will only see statistical data. How many countries, how many young researchers, what is the gender ratio in your proposal? What are the backgrounds? What are the scientific backgrounds of the proposal? So this will be seen by the evaluators, but they will not see any names. So this is the anonymity rules also go in that way. So for in your case, be careful not to put any names, not to put any doubtful, for example, URL that would link to a site where you would identify proposer. Don't say neither that, for example, many proposers have been involved in cost action. from previous year, or a Horizon or a European project, So this, no. When you say the state of the art, you just mentioned that, okay, this project has gone that far and has allowed to make advancements, and we are going to continue this. But don't connect your network participants and these projects. Don't mention also that there is a training school that's going to happen in the University of Jyväskylä, because, okay, there we identify one participant, so no name. There is only one exception. It's in the international participation, but this is very restricted. So be careful. Our definition of international organization, for example, is really limited to the international organizations who are recognized as such, who are under international status. So a European association is not an international or European organization. It's a national organization. So there, don't mention any name neither. You can mention name for international participants. Okay, we have an expert from the United States who will participate. Okay, there you can cite him. Same for someone from Georgia or Russia. Okay, that's international participants. That's the only exception. Now, we have a section which is not compulsory, which is the bibliography. So you can put a bibliography, it's called reference, by the way. And there you can cite participants, as long as you don't highlight them, as long as their name is part of a set of names of non-participants. So we had a case, unfortunate case of a proposer who in this bibliography always highlighted himself in bold. Unfortunately, he was declared ineligible. So this is for the anonymity. Otherwise, the template that you will upload, so the technical annex should not be changed. The format should be kept. Keep the word limit of 15. This is something that we cannot control. So when you upload the PDF, make sure that you have only 15 pages, not more. Also, it has to be written in English. It's obvious because experts come from all over the world, and this is the lingua franca. And also, a proposal has to be for peaceful purposes. That's for the eligibility check. The next step is then the evaluation by the independent external experts. As I said, the Costs Association will check and try to identify external experts based first on the, let's say, research area that you have selected in this first step, the general feature, remember. This will help us to narrow our search, identify experts from our database of over 100,000 of experts. Okay, we select 3 of them. They will submit an individual report, and at the end of this submission, we will put them together. And we already at that point include a review panel member. A review panel member is nominated by Janet and the other national coordinator, and the 3 external experts together with a review panel member will then elaborate a report, what we call consensus report. So this is the basis for the general report that will be handed over to the to the applicant at the end of the process. Okay, one of the 3 experts is then designated rapporteur, and he will then elaborate with the 2 other with an overview of this review panel member, this consensus report. The review panel member is really there not to evaluate, but really to look at the quality of the report. So he will look at the phrasing. So this is the step 2. He's already involved in this consensus phase. He will already there look at the phrasing. Is there a match between, let's say, the comment and the mark which is given? This is done at this step 2. When this consensus report is submitted, the review panel will still have some time to check the consensus report and meet together with other review panelists, all of them being nominated by the national coordinator, again, to fine-tune and to discuss cases. Which cases, for example, the cases where there has not been an agreement among the 3 independent experts, okay? They will reach this agreement in this step 2. They will come out then with a list, a sort of let's say, graded list, and the scientific committee will then look into the top ranked proposal. So they will only look into a limited number of proposals from the, well, the one who has the highest mark to a cutoff point, and add to this cutoff point another 2 marks below this cutoff point. So it's a group of, in this round, I think it was around 70 proposals, just to extract another set of proposals which are in this so-called gray zone. So if you have a 50 or a 49 or a 48 out of 50, which is the maximum score, you were safe. But in this range between 47 and I think it was 44, the scientific committee will check and dig into these proposals, or these proposals, and really focus on this excellence and inclusiveness policy. So that's why if you have a strong proposal, just also fine-tune this part, how you tackle gender balance, how you tackle geographical balance, how you tackle inclusion of young researchers. Finally, there is this approval. The scientific committee then gives its shortlisted proposal for approval, hand it over to the committee of senior officials. Those are the one who approves the 40 actions, in this case, in the last round, who were published now in end of May. So again, a few words about the evaluation criteria. These are the 4 categories. You can see there is a perfect match between these categories and the technical annex. So S&T excellence, networking excellence, impact, implementation. You can see that the 3 first have a total mark of 15 points, and the last one, the implementation part, 5 points. Now, it's interesting for you, if you plan to submit, to go through these questions. This I really leave to you. You will get this presentation, go through these questions, because it's important to score high in the 10 questions. Go through, I will not read them, but this is important to bear in mind. Could I score high? Pass it to your colleagues. Would you score be high in these questions for S&T excellence, networking excellence, impact, and implementation? Okay. So, in short, how to apply? What are the steps? Read the official announcement. It's on our website under how to apply. The official announcement is just in 2 pages, telling you when is the date of the next collection, how many proposals are going to be funded. Most important is, of course, the CESA guideline, so the applicant's guideline. So this is really the document, to read before submitting. So there you have everything on how to fill in this technical annex, on the evaluation criteria. Read it carefully, especially also the anonymity examples that we give in this CESA guideline, not to fall in the trap of this anonymity rule. So again, there is an online registration via eCost and submission. Technical template, technical annex template, it's a Word document, as I said, which is, you can find next to the applicant's guideline that you will then download, that you can share among your partner colleagues, and then eventually upload at the very last stage when you decide to submit. Now we have a help desk, open call at cost.eu for any questions. Please send in whatever your thoughts are, your questions are. We try to answer it as soon as possible. Again, a visual for how to find these documents and guidelines. So when you go onto our website, there is the menu. You cannot see it. I think it's the second menu, documents and guidelines. There you will see all these icons, PDF icons, where you can download all the necessary documents. So yeah, these are some links, again, the contact point. I also invite you to register as experts, because we always need experts, especially interdisciplinary experts. So again, when you register to eCost, to this database, Make sure you fill in your expertise, your areas of expertise, upload a CV, and you just check the mark. I would like to become an expert for cost. It also opens you the possibility to become a first step expert in a proposal, or also indicates that you're available to join a review, the review panel. So the CNC will nominate you. I think Malta has quite full, all the review panel members are nominated, but I think there are still 2 positions in natural sciences. So if you want to join a review panel, this is a very interesting task. You get there involved with other review panel members from other countries. We usually meet physically when it's possible in Brussels, and then you get there to scrutinize 10 up to 10 proposals. So it's very nice to see also for a review panel member what is cooking in your field. So I think that was what I wanted to present. So thank you all for listening. I'm open for any questions now, and thank you, Janet.